Right now at 8, auditors take a look at where Wisconsin's universities spent money on DEI programs. The total amount and reaction from Republicans is coming up. Plus, President Trump makes a plan to bolster immigration enforcement on the southern border. And nuclear talks are set to begin with Iran today. We have the details out of Washington. And then later, a southern Wisconsin chicken farmer loses his flock to a fire. We'll hear how he's rebuilding his operation. This is Weekend Mornings, and we thank you for joining us here on this Saturday, April 12th. I'm Kyle Pazorski. Former talk show host David Letterman turns 78 today. And let's get to the first warn forecast. Savannah Bredio in for Jacob Montesano this morning. Hi, Savannah.
Hi, Kyle. Good morning. The good news is temperatures already starting to luckily warm up. We're now up to 37 after lows actually did fall all the way into the mid to upper 20s across most of southern Wisconsin. A couple areas did hold steady in the 30s overnight. 35 in Camp Douglas, 37 in La Crosse, couple areas closer to 40. That includes Monroe, who's at 39 right now, 32 in Janesville. No one's really sitting aside of Black River Falls into the 20s anymore. Lots of sunshine expected still through midday. Once we get to that lunchtime hour and really 1 to 2 p.m., that's when I think clouds are going to quickly increase and we'll actually switch over to mostly cloudy skies. Complete cloud cover expected this evening. But temperatures are going to be nice, topping out in the lower 20s today. Dry conditions, but that will change by tomorrow. We are forecasting a couple of isolated to spotty showers, but tomorrow will be the warmer day and breezier day. We'll time out all that rain and how much that's expected, including the chance of storms coming up a little later. Kyle.
All right, Savannah, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Well, and today is the Dane County Farmers Market. We're going to take a live look now down there at the Capitol Square, opening for the 2025 season. Got a lot of activity already taking place this morning. What started with just 5 farmers back in 1972 has grown exponentially over the years to now feature more than 200 vendors. And we are glad to see all these people out there already today. Each Saturday, visitors can find everything from fresh produce and flowers to artisan cheeses, as well as baked goods. All right, so here's some info if you do plan to head out there either today or some other date later on this season. The market runs every Saturday and Wednesday throughout, no matter if it is rain or shine. And each Saturday, the market opens at around 6 and runs through 1:45 in the afternoon. If you're planning to go out today or any other time, it is generally recommended to walk, bike, or take the bus to avoid all the downtown parking hassles. All right, now to some other top stories we are following this morning. A highly anticipated report was released Friday detailing how much of the universities of Wisconsin and state government is spending on DEI efforts. The findings show there was no widespread standard across the universities for what DEI should look like. All told, the audit estimates that UW schools spent roughly $40 million on offices related to DEI. In response, Republicans who ordered the audit said the efforts amounted to race-based discrimination. Meanwhile, 2 Western Wisconsin lawmakers are turning to the public for input on the next state budget. Representative Steve Doyle and Senator Brad Pfaff hosting a state budget listening session in Onalaska Friday. They say they want the budget to reflect the real needs of all Wisconsinites.
An awful lot of attention is being drawn right now and what's happening in Washington, D.C. And at the same time, the state of Wisconsin is in the process of putting together its 2-year biennial budget. And we wanted to make sure that we heard directly from our constituents, the people that we represent. What are their priorities when it comes to the role of government?
The Republican-controlled legislature will create a budget draft over the next few months and then send it to the governor's office. On Friday, President Trump announced a new military move on the U.S. southern border to curb illegal immigration. And this all as his administration confronts several challenges around the globe. CBS's Bradley Blackburn is tracking the latest on the Trump White House.
President Trump flew south to Palm Beach late Friday as the White House announced plans in the U.S. Southwest. In an executive order, he gave the Pentagon control of federal lands on the southern border, effectively turning them into a military installation. The order says it would enable activities like barrier construction and enforcing security. It includes the Roosevelt Reservation, a narrow strip of land that passes through California, Arizona, and New Mexico. One of the Trump administration's moves on immigration was challenged at the U.S. Supreme Court this week, with the court ordering the White House to work to return a Maryland man who was mistaken mistakenly deported to a Salvadoran prison. Aboard Air Force One, the president said he would comply.
I'm not totally well versed as to the specific case, but if they said to bring him back, I would tell them to bring him back.
Meanwhile, in the global tariff battle, China's 125% tariff on U.S. goods goes into effect Saturday after President Trump raised his tariff to 145% and excluded China from a 90-day pause.
They can choose not to deal with us, or they can choose to pay it. And that's where we are.
And this weekend, the White House is starting new nuclear negotiations with Iran.
I want Iran to be a wonderful, great, happy country, but they can't have a nuclear weapon.
The talks are being held in Oman Saturday. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
And looking on Wall Street, markets closed in positive territory Friday, all as traders responded to some comments from Boston Federal Reserve President Susan Collins. She told the Financial Times that the central bank would step in to support financial markets if there were signs of distress, and all three major indexes making gains on those comments. So here's a look at the numbers. The Dow had a 619-point jump. The NASDAQ climbed 337, and the S&P added 95. To more local news, a man is now in jail after being charged with multiple counts of child sex crimes. Madison police arrested Skylar Klassen on Wednesday morning at an address on the city's east side. They had received a tip about a man in possession of child sexual abuse materials. When they arrived, police said they found evidence of a sexual assault. Klassen's facing several charges, including first-degree sexual assault of a child, 4 counts of child sexual exploitation, and 4 counts of being in possession of child sex abuse materials. During a court appearance on Friday, a judge set Klassen's bond at $300,000. His next court date is on April 22nd. During last week's severe weather, lightning struck a family's barn in Cross Plains, setting it on fire. Among the losses was a chicken farmer's passion. Arman Rahman has more on how he's looking to rebuild his small operation.
This is all that remains of a dream 15 years in the making, burnt down in just minutes, that's now rising from the ashes.
Kurt's cooking too. Chicken farmer at work.
That's you, yep.
It is me.
It's a badge Kurt Kelscher wears with honor.
He calls his hens his sisters. Even though they all look the same, they're not the same to him. You know, each one is different with their own personalities.
But after lightning struck during storms in early April, Kurt lost the coop and all of those family members inside. He didn't have much to say about the farm Friday, but the tough truth stayed with him.
They're gone!
They're gone. It was devastating. I drove him over there the day after, and it was hard for him to see it, but he needed the closure. I took him out there yesterday. They had ripped the whole barn down, and there was a lot of tears shed.
The job earned Kurt roughly $1,000 a year, but it's never been about the money.
For Kurt and all of the population we work with, their routine is so important. He's still happy, but not quite as happy and giggly and chatty as he used to be, so.
He knows there's something wrong and out of place, so his normal's not normal anymore.
For the past roughly 14 years, with the help of coordinators at Madison Area Rehabilitation Centers, or MARC, Kurt would go from farmer
He always called them his chicken chores.
to entrepreneur.
He'd pick up all of his eggs, and he had an egg basket, and he'd bring them in. And then he'd fill up his bucket with the feed. He stamps egg cartons.
He would hand deliver 20 dozen eggs to about 50 customers around the area every week.
He knows everybody by name.
And those customers were not ready to see their farm fresh eggs and the smiling face who delivers them go, right from the day the fire happened.
What can I do? What does he need? How can we help? From everywhere.
One of the MARC staff, Becky, offered him space on her family's farm. He still needs supplies, from buckets to metal scoops, because April 29th, he's got some new sisters to love and care for.
Are you gonna get new baby chicks?
Yes.
Reporting in Cross Plains, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
And you can find links to Kurt's Amazon and Blaine's Farm and Fleet wish list connected to this story on channel3000.com. It's now 8:08, still ahead. We've got to look at why you should maybe warm up before taking part in any spring sporting activities. Plus, Savannah will be back with a full check of the first warm forecast as we take a live look outside at the Beltline here in Madison. This is Weekend Mornings.
Well, happy Saturday. Though it was a cool start, temperatures are warming up right now. We're at 37 in Madison, 36 in Verona, 37 in Oregon. The only one that's hovering at freezing level, at least locally across Dane County, is Edgerton. And there's no 20s out there anymore. We're closer to 40 in Monroe. Some areas like Milwaukee and Kenosha along the lake are already well into the mid-40s. Everyone will quickly be there. I expect the lower 40s by 9 in the morning for the first and the return of the Dane County Farmers Market. That's already underway. 52 by 11 in the morning. And then as things wrap up, temperatures should be in the upper 50s, near 60 degrees in a couple spots. We will have a lot of sunshine, but I do think once we hit noon and around 1 p.m., that's when clouds are going to start to increase. It will be completely clouded over by the time we head into the evening hours. Also going to see winds pick up over the afternoon, but enjoy the sunshine and the mild temperatures. Overall, really pleasant spring day out there this afternoon. And then you see all the white on future track. Those are all the clouds that are going to move in, like I mentioned, around lunchtime, and that will take us through the evening. A couple areas northeast of Madison, like Sheboygan and Manitowoc, could see a stray shower, although most, if not all of us, should stay dry at least until tomorrow. This is 7. You can start to see a little bit of the green activity popping up northwest of even La Crosse, Wisconsin. I do think these are going to be scattered in nature, and not everyone's going to see rain tomorrow. Those that do see rain will not see much of that. Just isolated to scattered showers. This is 11 in the morning. So the morning tomorrow, that's looking good but cloudy. At least will be dry still though. And then some shower activities. Some of these fizzle out though by the time they cross the border and enter southern Wisconsin. This is now 3:30 p.m. And then watch what this does. Clouds actually start to decrease as these continue to push further east. And by the evening, might see a little bit of clearing take place. No rain expected after that point in time. But we could use some because on our drought monitor, we still do have drought conditions to the southwest. I'll show that in a second. But winds are out of the south. They're light right now, but they are going to increase by the afternoon. Gusts potentially reaching about 15 to 20 miles per hour. They'll increase again further overnight and then into tomorrow morning, topping out at around 25 to 30 miles per hour. And that's pretty much where most of the day is going to sit tomorrow afternoon. How much rain are we going to see though during that time frame Sunday afternoon? Like I said, not expecting much, maybe a couple hundredths up to a 1/10, 2/10 of an inch, I would say at the most. The better chance that heavier rain could come towards Thursday and Friday, Good Friday next week. So the end of next week looking a little bit more active before we head into Easter Sunday. This is what I was talking about with the moderate drought conditions still affecting areas like Prairie du Chien, Platteville, Monroe. The yellow color does dip into the city or south of the city of Madison into southern Dane County. So still areas that are abnormally dry out there. So we could use the rain, but like I mentioned, not going to see a lot of that unfortunately. And any thunderstorms that we do see tomorrow going to be brief, just a couple rumbles of thunder, nothing severe. And no alert days over the next 10 days, which is good. And the forecast for La Crosse will be a little bit warmer than here.
And if you're going to spend one of the days outside this weekend, probably today?
Yeah, today, because a couple isolated showers will take place tomorrow, but again, no washout. So, I mean, even if you do have plans outside tomorrow, shouldn't run into any huge issues.
Yeah, well, but it's nice to probably get some of that rain, though, too.
Yeah,
especially with that kind of drought you're talking about.
We need it, but at least we'll have the sun today and then a few showers tomorrow.
All right, well, thank you, Savannah.
You're welcome.
Well, on to some news about your health. With warmer weather on the way, SSM Health is stressing the importance of warming up before participating in springtime sports. With local 5Ks along with soccer, golf, and pickleball all starting back up again, doctors say jumping right in can be a shock to the system. So this can lead to torn tendons and ligaments or even some broken bones. So to combat this, they say people should increase their activity by around 10% in volume per week before fully getting back into the swing of things.
So if you were a total couch potato all winter, you know, starting off with like a 5 to 10 minute walk or a short session of whatever sport you'd like to do. Now, if you were steadily working out throughout the winter and now you want to increase that, then yeah, just going up by about 10% in the duration.
Doctors also recommend beginning with gentle bike riding or easy walking before going into balanced exercises or playing dynamic sports. April is Head and Neck Cancer Awareness Month. Just this past week, actor Val Kilmer passed away after an 11-year battle with throat cancer. Experts say that head and neck cancers account for roughly 4% of all cancers and that it can be hard to detect early on.
You know, a lot of times it ends up boiling down to things that the person themselves may notice, whether it's any of those symptoms that I mentioned earlier, or a sore or something on the inside of the mouth.
Treatments for head and neck cancers may include surgery, radiation, or chemotherapy based on where it is in the body. Egg prices reached a record high in March, right as Easter, the biggest egg holiday of the year, is set to take place. The average cost of a dozen eggs hit a record $6.23 last month. Youch! And increased demand for the holiday means prices may not decline until after Easter. A company survey by Signature Brands found despite the higher egg prices, 95% of families who typically decorate them still plan to do so this Easter.
While not ideal, it's going to cost a little bit more. It's still only about 40 cents per egg. And so people realize that it's still one of the more affordable things you can do with your kids.
Some other creative and maybe cheaper alternatives are spreading on social media now as well, like decorating potatoes or even marshmallows. And next, a recall alert due to Farm Fresh Foods is warning consumers that a batch of ready-to-eat celery sticks are at risk for listeria. The advisory covers more than 1,500 cases of 4-pack market-side celery sticks. They were distributed and sold in Walmart stores across multiple states, including here in Wisconsin. All the potentially affected units are past their expiration date and no longer on sale, but some customers may have frozen them for later use. If you have this product in your freezer, you should throw it out immediately. We are coming up now on 8:20 on your Saturday morning. Still ahead, Savannah's back with a quick check of the weekend forecast. Plus, there are several new shows and movies to check out and streaming. Our Will Loper has the 3 things you need to watch next on Weekend Mornings.
Welcome back and happy Saturday. The temperatures look good both today and tomorrow. It is a little bit chilly out there, so might want a sweatshirt, but at least temperatures will reach the lower 60s. 62 today and then 65 tomorrow. So yes, it'll be warmer tomorrow, but it'll be breezier too, with winds gusting up to 25 to 30 miles per hour. And there is a slight chance of a couple of showers, maybe a rumble of thunder or two. Not too worried about that. We're not focusing on any severe weather or alert days tomorrow, nor over the next 10 days. I think our better chance rains actually going to come during this time frame next Thursday, late in the work week, and that will take us into potentially the early morning hours and early afternoon of Good Friday. But Easter Sunday is looking pretty good. Right now, not forecasting any chance of precipitation then, and temperatures actually get back into the lower 60s. There is going to be a little bit cool air in between this weekend and then next weekend. Got a couple of 50s, but at least temperatures nonetheless are going to be exactly pretty much where they should be. Our average high is 55 for this time of year, Kyle.
All right, we're going to get 70s eventually.
I know, can't wait till those come back.
All right, thank you. Well, the Academy of Motion Picture and Arts and Sciences is adding a new Oscars category for stunt design. The CEO of the Academy says stunts have been an integral part of filmmaking since the early days of cinema. More than 100 stunt professionals are members of the Academy's production and technology branch. The inaugural award will be for films released in 2027. The last time a new category was created by the Academy was for achievement in casting. The inaugural award for that is for films released this year. In some celebrity news, actor Eric Dean says he's been diagnosed with ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. The 52-year-old is known for his roles in Grey's Anatomy and Euphoria. ALS is a progressive neurodegenerative disease affecting nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. There is no known cure. In an interview with People magazine, Dane said right now he's fortunate to be able to continue working and intends to return to the set of Euphoria next week. Well, as we tell you each and every week, there is never a shortage of films and shows streaming online these days. Our Loper shares a few of the best in this weekend's 3 Things to Watch.
Call it mind expanding. It alters your neuronal structure. The mind is a computer. Suddenly, we're not just more receptive. You become a receiver.
Explore 6 new sci-fi episodes with a 7th season of Black Mirror, newly streaming on Netflix.
Just remember that they're AIs. To them, this is real.
Ready?
I'm ready.
The anthology series is back, exploring a different topic or dystopia each episode, starring Rashida Jones, Issa Rae, Paul Giamatti, and many more.
For years, we've been afraid of them. Now it's time for them to be afraid of us.
Watch the fight against fascism in the 6th and final season of The Handmaid's Tale, newly streaming on Hulu.
We broke this country, and now we have to fix it together.
This is Gilead. The only person you should count on is yourself.
I am trying to give you a way out.
There is no way out.
How are the kids? Oh, they're fine. Wife, ex-wife. Well, I gotta deliver some bad news. You're fired.
And watch a hedge fund manager's life unravel in Your Friends and Neighbors, newly streaming on Apple TV+.
I've been thinking. These houses have all this stuff no one would miss for a while, if ever.
John Hamm plays Coop, who begins stealing from his rich neighbors, discovering secrets along the way.
Rich guy loses his big job, has liquidity problems, turns to petty crime. That's not savvy, that's stupidity.
Maybe it's just desperation.
Those are the 3 things you need to watch, and this is Will Loper for Weekend Mornings.
And still ahead on Weekend Mornings, got to check out what's making headlines on this Saturday morning. Plus, Savannah's back with a glance at today's forecast. This is Weekend Mornings. Right now at 8:30, President Trump staying defiant when it comes to new tariffs placed on China, what the White House is saying. Plus, name, image, and likeness is back in the spotlight. We have what the price college athletics is paying to pay athletes. This is Weekend Mornings. We thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Pazorski here on this Saturday, April 12th. And let's get through the first warn forecast. Savannah Brito tracking out your Saturday morning. Savannah, we have the Dane County Farmers Market starting today too.
We do, and it's overall a good forecast aside of the chilly morning, but temperatures are still warming up very quickly. That was expected. We fell to 28 this morning, now up almost 10 degrees from that at 37. There's plenty of 40s southwest of here, and even up in La Crosse at 37 this morning, at 35 degrees in Juneau. So not a bad start, and at least we have that sunshine. By mid-morning to late morning, temperatures already going to get into the 50s, still mostly sunny skies expected around 11 a.m. And then as the Dane County Farmers Market wraps up, I think temperatures will be in the upper 50s, near 60 degrees in some spots, but we'll start to see clouds on the increase and also windy conditions return. It's not going to be as breezy as what we'll see tomorrow, but overall winds gusting 15 to 25 miles per hour. And these are the highs for today, so plenty of 60s out there. Might be a little bit cooler along the lake. Their morning was actually a little warmer than ours, but 62 the forecast high today, and then it'll be even warmer tomorrow, but we've got to battle a couple of showers. We'll talk about that time frame and also how breezy it'll be specifically for your Sunday afternoon coming up. Kyle.
And Savannah, one question. Do you plan to go to the farmers market?
I was going to, but I don't know if I'll have time. I'm just going to wait for a little bit warmer of a day. How about you?
I think I'm probably in the same boat. The crowds out there are amazing.
I can't imagine.
We're about to show this live shot, so let's go to this. Look here at the Dane County's Farmers Market. So many people out there for opening day of the 2025 season. Of course, the market on the square, it originated with just 5 farmers back in 1972. It runs each Saturday and Wednesday throughout the harvest season. So no matter if it's rain or shine, it's going to be happening. And if you're planning to go, it is really generally recommended to walk, bike, or take the bus to downtown to avoid some of the parking and driving hassles. Just an amazing shot there. Glad we had that this morning. All right, on to some other news that is making headlines this morning. The White House is saying President Trump's trade policies are working, saying Friday that dozens of countries are asking for new trade deals. But China remains defiant in what appears to be an escalating trade war. This week, the president ratcheted up his tariffs on Chinese imports to as much as 145%. China responded with 125% tariffs on U.S. goods beginning today.
If China continues to retaliate, it's not good for China. The United States of America is the strongest, best economy in the world.
Now, President Trump has said he is waiting for Chinese President Xi Jinping to call him and negotiate, but some U.S. business owners are questioning how long they can wait. Here in Madison, a highly anticipated report was released Friday detailing how much the Wisconsin government is putting forward to DEI efforts. The findings show there was no widespread standard across the universities of Wisconsin for what DEI should look like. All told, the audit estimates that UW schools spent roughly $40 million on offices related to DEI. In response, Republicans who ordered the audit said the efforts amounted to race-based discrimination. Name, image, and likeness compensation for college athletes is once again in the spotlight as legislatures take to the UW campus. Our Maddie Himes has the price college athletics is paying for paying their college athletes.
The NCAA is home to 3 divisions, 1,100 schools, and 500,000 student athletes. And while they're regularly in competition, there's been plenty of contention outside the stadium as well.
There's a lot of volatility right now in collegiate sports.
While athletes spend their time on the court, their rights to compensation have been playing out in the courthouse. The final hearing in the $2.8 billion lawsuit against the NCAA was held this past Monday. The judge's final decision still to come. Members of the House Judiciary Committee, the president of the NCAA, and a group of coaches, athletic directors, and student athletes met for a roundtable discussion on UW campus.
Today was a way of getting some more input on those issues so that we're able to get college sports in a better place than it is right now.
We have a role to play here in Congress in making sure that the pendulum lands in the right spot.
Concerns about Title IX inequities and the future of non-revenue sports are still being considered.
How that shakes out, we're not sure, but we certainly are going to try to encourage, as best we can, that schools not be dropping sports.
We need to make sure that we uphold that integrity of the educational institution.
If the new terms that allow colleges to directly pay their athletes are approved, they'll go into effect July 1st.
There's some issues like the amount of revenue that's being generated that still need to be flushed out.
The judge's final ruling on the NCAA settlement can be expected in the coming weeks.
Maddie Himes reporting. With the settlement will come booster cuts, or rather roster cuts, but the judge is considering grandfathering in current athletes. All right, let's take a look around the state now. A pair of endangered peregrine falcons are believed to have died from bird flu. We Energies announced the deaths of 2 of its longest returning peregrine falcons, Bryn and Beasley. Bryn was found dead in a nest box in Port Washington, just north of Milwaukee. Bryn's mate for 8 years, Beasley, has not returned to the nest box since, just a few days after Bryn's death. He is believed to have also died. We Energies and Wisconsin Public Service began installing peregrine falcon nest boxes on their power plants back in 1992, and to date, 453 peregrine falcons have hatched at the We Energies and WPS facilities. Also around Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, a cat was trapped inside an apartment building's air ducts for 3 weeks. Nick Borer shows us video of how the cat was finally rescued.
An empty litter box and cat food, all that remained of Lexi Hungness's new cat.
I freaked out. I cried all day.
Lexi didn't even have time to name her cat. It disappeared 3 days after she brought her home to her apartment near 60th and Bradley Road.
I kept her in the room overnight because she's scared. You're supposed to acclimate them slowly. And she just, I guess, was able to just pull it off like that. And when I woke up in the morning, this was like that, and she was gone.
That was 3 weeks ago. Lexi says she tried to explain to the building manager the cat was stuck in the ductwork, but they weren't convinced until today when we were able to get photos showing it was still there.
Yep, there she is, right in there.
Come on, baby, please.
The staff jumped into action, isolating the cat into a section where it could be seen peering out, but it refused to leave. The building manager had a brilliant idea to use a shop vac to blow air into the pipe to motivate the cat to come out the other end. After a few hesitations, the cat jumped into a waiting cat carrier, finally free. Well, free of the furnace ductwork at least.
That's exactly why they shouldn't have pets.
Lexi had to surrender the cat since, as it turns out, they're not allowed in her building.
That's Nick Bohr reporting. The Wisconsin Humane Society is now caring for the cat and named her Magic. Time now is 8:38. Still ahead, Savannah's back with a quick check of the weekend forecast. And we take a look at what's happening around southern Wisconsin today. Plus, here's a look at today's day in history.
Well, happy Saturday. Welcome back. We've got a lot of sunshine out there. Not going to set the tone for today. I do think we'll unfortunately see a lot of cloud cover by the evening, but enjoy the sunshine and the cooler temperatures at least early this morning. We're at 37 right now, but we will see temperatures quickly warm up. Already going to be in the upper 50s, mid to upper 50s by the lunchtime hour, and then topping out in the lower 60s later today. This is where we sit right now, though, outside of Dane County, 34 in Lone Rock, 45 in Monroe, 43 in the Dells, 40 in Juneau, and 37 in La Crosse. So overall, it's not a bad start. At least temperatures are continuing to warm up very quickly. We actually fell into the upper 20s in Madison earlier, and we're already sitting about 10 degrees warmer than that. And still have a far shot to go the rest of the day, 62. It will be warmer tomorrow, 65 for the second half of your weekend, but we will see breezier conditions return and a chance of isolated showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder. We'll time out the rain that's expected and talk about how much we could see coming up, Kyle.
All right, Savannah. And there's plenty more happening today other than just the Dane County Farmers Market, as it is also Record Store Day, providing music lovers a chance to get some fresh wax. Nice way to wake up this morning. Since 2008, independently owned record stores around the world have celebrated the day that they play in their communities. Record Store Day is typically on the third Saturday in April, but that falls on a bank holiday in many countries. So this year's celebration is happening today. Record stores here and around Madison are set to have special deals as well as events.
We're going to put out 1,000 new used records that haven't been on the floor, a lot of huge titles like original pressings, Metallica records, Radiohead, rare stuff, that doesn't get seen quite commonly.
Mad City Music will also be having their doors open today at 9 o'clock, coming up in just about 15 minutes, though he says people usually will show up in the middle of the night so they can be first in line. Can you imagine people being out there already? Crazy. Well, Wisconsin-based Duluth Trading Company has a fun promotion as well this weekend. They're asking people to bring in an old pair of underwear and exchange it for a new pair for free on them. News 3 Now's Chris Stanford talked with them this week about the reason why.
We want people to take advantage of our underwear, which lasts a lot longer. It has solution benefits. They're extremely comfortable. And what better way to get them into our underwear by exchanging it with their underwear?
So you heard that right. You can go to any of the company's stores today or even tomorrow and take an old pair and give them to them, and you'll get a new pair in exchange on them. You can catch Chris's full interview with all the details, which is up now on channel3000.com. Certainly a unique event. And also this weekend, the rodeo is back in Madison. The Midwest Horse Fair kicked off on Friday, bringing food, competitions, rides, and more to the Alliant Energy Center. The theme this year is Journey Home. This is now the 44th edition of the fair, which will run through tomorrow. So here's some info if you plan to go out there. The price for one-day ticket is $25. Children under the age of 7 will get in for free. And tomorrow is Military Appreciation Day with free admission to all military members. You can find a full schedule of events on their website listed there for you on the screen. Still to come, some sports news with how the Brewers are doing, finally getting into the swing of things this season. Plus, Savannah is standing by with another full check of the first warm forecast as we take a live look outside at the Beltline here in Madison. You're watching Weekend Mornings.
Well, happy Saturday and welcome back. Temperatures have been quick to warm up, luckily, after the 20s we had across some of Dane County this morning. We're now up to 37, 36 in McFarland, and we got plenty of 40s, even some spots like Mount Horeb, Perry, Verona, and Cross Plains that are well into the 40s, mid-40s there. 46 is the current temp in Middleton. We have a lot of 40s, but also some places that are still dealing with a little bit cooler air. 34 in Lone Rock, 34 in Boscobel, and 37 this morning in La Crosse. But everyone's pretty much going to see the 60s, lower 60s later today. Temperatures will already be into the lower 50s by 11 a.m. And then for that last hour of the farmers market, closer to 60. Most of us across the area should already be into the upper 50s at that point in time. So it was a cool start, but temperatures are quickly warming up. I do think we'll see the sunshine last until about 11 in the morning to noon. Once we hit the lunchtime hour, though, clouds are going to be quick to increase, unfortunately. So we're not going to see that sunshine all day long. Get out early, enjoy that while we have it. We do have a southerly wind starting to increase. Our winds were light up to about 3 to 5 miles per hour. Now you're starting to see more areas closer to 10 to 15 miles per hour. And most of the southern Wisconsin will see gusts later today reach about 15 to 20 miles per hour. So it will be breezy, but not the breezier half of the weekend. And that's going to come tonight into tomorrow, where gusts could reach close to 30 miles per hour. This is a look at 8:30 tomorrow morning, and then we'll still be pretty much sitting there as we head into the evening and overnight hours of Sunday. So a little bit of a factor as far as winds go, especially when they pick up behind that system into Monday. You saw those gusts potentially reaching about 40 miles per hour or so. So nothing, absolutely nothing on future track. Lots of green. That's all the clear, but then you start to see the whites come in. That's all the cloud cover we're going to quickly see. Maybe a shower or two, stray at best up near Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, and Manitowoc later tonight. But then we'll see showers increase in coverage. It's not going to be a washout, and you're still not going to see a lot of green pop up on here, but starting tomorrow, I would say at the earliest 10 to 11 in the morning looks dry, but once we get closer to lunchtime, that's when some showers could track in, and some of those fizzle out. So not everyone's going to see the much needed rain out there, though. It's actually areas to the south that are still sitting under moderate drought conditions or even abnormally dry conditions. They're the ones that need the rain, and they're the ones that are not going to see any of the rain tomorrow. Those move east, and then by 7 p.m. tomorrow, everyone's already going to be dry, and we'll actually start to see those thicker clouds move out of here briefly. This is a look at how much rainfall we could see into Sunday evening, about 1/10 of an inch at the best chance, so chances are looking pretty low. And this is what I was mentioning with the drought monitor. Areas like Platteville, Monroe, Prairie du Chien, Viroqua, and La Crosse need the rain, but those areas probably not. The best chance of that is Viroqua and La Crosse out of areas comparison to Platteville and down in Monroe. Tomorrow's the warmer day, but again, got a couple of showers. No severe weather is expected, maybe a couple rumbles of thunder with those heavier showers, and then that pulls in some cooler air.
Got some sports news now this morning. The Milwaukee Bucks have now secured the number 5 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. It came in their game last night against the Pistons, winning it 125-119. Giannis Antetokounmpo now sitting at a career-high 11 triple-doubles this season, surpassing his total from last year by 1. Milwaukee will face the 4th-seeded Indiana Pacers in the first round, just a year after losing to them in the opening round last year. In Phoenix, the Brewers had a good outing on Friday, all courtesy of Jose Quintana, who threw 7 scoreless innings in his Brewers debut. Quintana signed with the Brewers in early March, putting him behind schedule in spring training. Last night, he struck out 2, walked none, and threw just 80 pitches. Milwaukee won this one 7-0, winning 4 of the team's past 5. And Friday was round 2 of the Masters, as some of the world's best golfers compete to wear the green jacket. Right now, Justin Rose is in the lead, finishing off Friday at 8 under par, but Bryson DeChambeau is not far behind him, sitting at 7 under. Rory McIlroy, who opened Thursday at even par, answers with a strong Friday with a second round of 6 under par. He is tied for 3rd alongside Canadian Corey Connors. That's it for sports. Still ahead here on Weekend Mornings. Got a rare glimpse into the animal kingdom, a chimpanzee using a stick. Stick with us. Finally this morning, a video is going around online showing a female chimpanzee using a stick as a tool. Now, apparently, I'm kind of skeptical on this. It's the first time ever that there's been evidence of this specific endangered chimp species using a tool-like object. As you can see here, she picks up the long wooden stick, uses it as a probe to the camera, and then appears to sniff the end of it that touched the camera. Based on some previous reports, the video is the first ever footage of a chimpanzee using a tool in this area of Gabon, and shows the curiosity really out there in nature and the world.
It's a pretty funny video, though. She's like, what's going on here?
Just had to check out the trail camera. Let me touch it with my stick, and then let me lick it.
Exactly. She had to make sure it wasn't food, I guess, right? Or
Yeah,
something
exactly.
that was scary. But Kyle, we've got a good day on tap. Lower 60s today and then the mid 60s tomorrow. I do think tomorrow will be the breezier and not as great of the second half of the weekend, just because we'll be battling a couple of showers. Not going to be widespread and only going to see maybe 1/10 of an inch and then cooler air behind that.
All right, thank you, Savannah, and thank you all for watching. We're back here tomorrow at 6:30. We will see you then.